everybody, and welcome to Mayor Elizabeth Jones's Variety Hour.
Yes, we decided to do it. We had rehearsal for our play. We're
Yeah,
almost like Alfred
right,
Lunt the Lunts. We're
right.
doing so many plays together
I had
lately.
I
Yeah,
had two of them
just
today,
two, and I
so
have three, but you have five going on.
yeah, I have
So
five going
yeah,
on, and he has a few as
I have a
well.
few.
So
Some of them are the same.
right,
They don't.
right.
They tend to overlap, but we always have this show, which is
Yeah,
most important
yes, definitely, yes.
because not everyone can see the show. Not everyone can see the play, but everyone can see the show.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my name's Kaye Lazar. How you doing? Now, we have an announcement about next on April
April 16th,
16th,
next Saturday,
next Saturday. You tell us. I don't know the details.
we are going to have a promo show, which is
What is that?
it's you advertise. It's like a preview or one of the shows we're doing called Peter Pan and Wendy, and we're just gonna do like snippets of the scenes that we're learning from. So to show to the people who want to come see us.
Well, I think
You
how it
know.
works is the Dickens. You say the Dickens. You say. And the Charles Dickens is not a Christmas Carol, so it's not
Right.
Charles
No.
Dickens.
Yeah.
It's Peter Pan. So the J.M. Barrie, you say.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Tracy wrote it, but it's the
Yeah.
same characters as Peter
Yeah.
Pan. Now,
Yeah.
now this is what's going on. I think there's a whole lot going on that day,
Yeah.
and it's at Maymont Park
Yes, Maymont.
in Richmond. And you know what time we do our show?
I think we have to be there by 11 o'clock.
Now that people don't care what time we have to be there. What time does the show start?
I'll say it starts around 11:30,
Oh, it
maybe.
starts at 11:30.
Yeah, I had to ask for sure.
Okay,
Maybe we'll be there.
is it in the program? I'm
Yeah,
sure they're
I
handing
think
out
so.
programs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just look, and it's called Peter and Wendy.
Yes.
Now it's not the show.
Yeah.
What it is a lot is going on. I guess there's going to be musicians, all at Maymont Park, some sort of arts fair,
Right.
I
Yeah.
suppose.
Yeah.
And what happens is, it's advertising. You said a promo show. It's
Yes.
advertising for
Yes.
the
It's
for the
advertising.
for the 2 hour show.
Yes. Yes.
This is like the first couple of
Right.
scenes. And if you know the story of Peter Pan, it ends. Our little play ends when Peter Pan and Wendy take off.
Yes.
But the play is longer than that,
Yes.
and you'll see what's like in Neverland or Neverland as we called it when we were kids.
Right.
So you play the who do you play?
I played Liza the Maid and Morgan Skylight the Pirate.
And you play one of the pirates. Okay.
Yes.
I play a pirate too, but
Yes.
forget about the pirates. There's no pirates there, so you're safe from piracy if you go to this thing. It's again. Let me reiterate. Saturday, sometime on Saturday,
Yeah.
probably 11:30. You said.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
go at 11:30, you probably won't miss it. It might be at like 4:30, but
Yeah.
when you come there early, you'll get a good seat up front.
Yeah.
No, but it's a free show,
Yes.
and we do the first 10 minutes, and I play Mr. Darling.
Yes.
So I play Peter Pan's nemesis. No, he's Dr. Hook's Captain Hook. Dr. Hook is not. Dr. Hook
Yeah.
won't be there with his the medicine show. It's going to be. I think I'm making something very complicated, very easy, very complicated.
Yeah.
I even made that phrase complicated. No, it's it's and I play Mr. Darling, who is Wendy's father.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so I have a big mustache and
Yeah.
sideburns
Yeah.
and a grown-up hat and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
I got those socks that have the garter on them.
Right.
All old men have
Right.
that.
Right.
So I play a guy much older than I really am.
Right.
Every time I play the father of like teenagers in a play,
Right.
I always tell the woman playing my wife or the mother, I always say, "Don't you think we're too young looking to have teenagers for kids?" And they always say, "Yeah, we are. Why is this 18-year-old our kid?" Yeah, I'll tell you something else that's funny. And sometimes I'll play a part.
Right.
I'm at that age now where I play a lot of serious parts. Like I
Yeah.
play kings and I play judges and I play
Yeah.
the presidents or villains.
Right.
Usually white
Right.
collar villains.
Yeah.
And sometimes then I'll ask the makeup person. I'll ask. Listen, since I'm playing a much older character, should you put sort of like more gray in my hair or
Yeah.
make me or make my wrinkles? They said, no, you look fine. about my Richard Dreyfuss. You know,
Yeah.
Richard Dreyfuss was something like what 45 years old when he played Mr. Holland at
Yeah.
the end of the
Oh yeah.
movie when he was
That's a
like.
good movie.
He's supposed to be 80 years old, and they said he needed no makeup.
That's a good movie.
Well, that is a good movie.
Yeah.
That is a good movie. All that
Yeah.
good music.
Yeah, I like the music from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, uh, I was thinking like, oh, by the way, hope you enjoy. We're at the French Riviera right now. We're doing this. That's we're in Portofino
Yeah.
actually. No, this is the Mediterranean Sea behind us.
Yeah.
It's usually there was a topless woman over there, but she got up and left before we started filming, so you missed it all. I got this. I got an eyeful, but you poor people don't know what you're missing. Now we've been doing the show a few times over here, and hopefully we don't have a problem with the wind.
Yeah.
It sounded like someone was knocking on the door the whole time we were doing the show last week, but hopefully. Well, you know, when you do the show, a lot of times, this has even happened on shows I've done before, like with Gorgeous George and stuff, in studios, you talk to somebody and there's no real amplification, so you think that your voice is getting over, and then you play it and oh, God,
Right.
do I have to do this again? No, we're just going to run it the way
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
Luckily, I have a lot of, people tell me I have a lot of muscle in my voice.
Yeah.
You could hear me like Al Pacino. I could play to the last row.
Yeah.
I tell you something about my voice. My mom used to say, "Do you know how to whisper?" And I said, "No, I don't." I kind of mumble when I whisper, but I don't really. You can still hear me when I cannot keep I cannot be secretive, so I don't have any secrets, or I keep them to myself.
Right.
So I was in there's a shopping center called Willow Lawn, and there's a place. It's actually, you know the place.
I love Willow Lawn.
Well, it used to be Tower Records.
Yeah.
And
I've been in there years
Well,
ago.
this was when Tower Records was there, but now I think it's a Staples. But it's the same building.
Yeah.
And there's a parking lot on both sides of it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm on the back side of it, and I meet a friend of mine, and I'm talking on the back. And then a different friend of mine is in his car driving by the front side. He goes, "I think I hear Kevin's voice." And he goes all the way to the other side and hears me. And this basically, my voice had to go over a building, a huge building, not a skyscraper, but like a 2-story building, and in a parking lot. He said, "I couldn't make out what you were saying." I actually said, "How did you know I was back there?" He goes, "I heard." He said what I just told you. And he said, and I said later on, he said that I couldn't hear what you were saying, but I heard this yammering on the back, the back parking lot. I knew you were there. So that's my. I'm not a man of that many talents, but a loud voice is what I definitely have. I'm always.
I'm the same way too. I have a loud voice.
Yes.
Even on the stage, I have a really loud voice.
Well, actors should have a loud voice.
Yeah.
Not a squeaky voice like a mouse. Squeak.
Well, I used to be like that when I was younger, but now, I've been louder.
Yes, I
love being loud. I don't know why.
I got to tell you, I was. If you want to know anything about what I think this is a joke I always tell. If you want to know what my whole elementary school life was like, just at any given time of day in elementary school, like 5th grade or something, my name, just go in there, my name was written on the board for talking. I was always talking in class, always making jokes, always talking to my neighbor. In fact, my neighbor would actually bait me sometimes. They say, "Hey, Kevin." What? And then I'd get in trouble. And then they just laugh.
I remember my grandfather years ago, when he was alive.
Yeah.
He used to make kind of made fun of people who would whisper.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't hear them well.
Yeah.
Even my mom, my mom used to, didn't be loud at all.
Yeah.
She was like kind of a soft spoken. and then she'll be like, "Melanie, we can't hear you. You're kind of mumbling your words." That's my mom's name. Her name's Melanie. So,
Melanie.
Like Gone with the Wind.
Yes.
You know what? Yeah. Him and my grandmother actually named her after the character in Gone with the Wind.
There you go.
Which is pretty cool.
There's a member of my family named after somebody in Gone with the Wind too. Everyone loves Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
Unless you have a big problem with Gone with the Wind, and then you have no reason to. But there's a member of my family named Scarlett.
Yeah. Yes.
I'll leave it at that.
Yes.
And only because the other member of my family, that's her favorite book and
Right.
movie.
Yeah, my grandfather used to kind of make fun of my mom and other people who,
Yeah.
kind of whisper when they talk. So because he liked to be allowed too.
I have a sis. I have so many. My family's like we're like the Osmonds. My
Yeah,
family.
he
There's
was.
so many people in my family.
Yeah,
We're like the Osmonds who don't get along. We're always
yeah,
battling with each other. But
yeah,
anyway, I have this one sister, and in the day, whenever she wanted to tell Dad a secret, and she was always very secretive. She didn't want the rest of the family to know anything what she was saying, and unless it was that she had to, unless she wanted to blab my secrets to all my friends, and then they were all ears. I
yeah,
always hate people like that,
yeah,
and family members do that a lot.
yeah.
Don't don't ever tell a family member your secrets because they'll always blab it to
I
somebody.
used to hate it
Yeah.
in the past when people would whisper in front of you, like
Oh, you
with
should
your
never
best
do that.
friend.
You should never do that. You should text them.
It's disrespectful,
You
in
should
my
text them.
opinion. Yeah, I mean,
Text the person right next to you.
right. Just come and tell somebody, don't just do like this because you're gonna think you're talking about them.
You know, when you text, when texting came out, they said, I wonder if the people said, I wonder if this is going to be a big hit. It
Right.
was a big hit. It's still a big hit, and I knew it was going to be a big hit because when I was growing up, especially girls would like to pass notes around in
Yeah,
class, and then
yeah.
basically that's a archaic a progenitor of texting.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, so anyway, my sister, I'll tell you what it was. It was Maeve. She would try to tell Dad something, and my dad had. I don't know. My dad doesn't have the greatest of hearing, evidently,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he would go, and you be like, uh, you just mumble something to me, and I'll be Dad. Just go, hey Dad, say hey Dad, and then just mumble something.
Hi, Dad.
What? Can you repeat it?
I'm sorry.
She wasn't laughing.
This
We'll do it again. Okay, okay. Just all you have to do is mumble and say hi,
Please don't
hey
laugh.
Dad, and then mumble, and then I'll say what, and we'll go from there. Okay, we'll just
I'm
make this up.
sorry.
But then I'll do exactly what Dad would do. Okay. All right.
Hi,
What?
Dad.
What? Can you repeat that? Do it again. No, she didn't get that loud. She was basically just go, hey, you be Dad, and he would right. She would go, hey Dad, and he'd go what? And then she'd go. She'd try to make it a little louder. Go,
What?
and he'd go, what? I can't hear you. And then she'd finally, and then she'd go, and she was actually saying something, but no one could hear it. And he goes, I can't understand a word you're saying. And then she say, oh, forget it.
I'm sorry. I couldn't stop laughing when I was
I
saying
know,
that
no, I
out
mean,
loud.
it was funny. In fact, we talk about this to this day, 40 years later. Also, and also, yeah, so that and oh, let me tell you something about talking in class. Talking in class, I was always making jokes. I was always talking in class. I was always talking to people in the class. The teacher was always giving lectures, and I still do that when I'm in an exercise class. I'm talking
Yeah.
to people, and I get yelled at by people. That happens
Yeah.
about once a week. Someone yell. I
Yeah.
get yelled at everywhere I go.
Yeah.
I have a face you love to smack, like
Yeah.
Chris Rock.
Yeah.
But anyway, I would I so anyway, what was weird is that I was sent to the principal's
Yes.
office here and there. I was notes home to my mother, punishment right
Oh
on the
yeah.
board, like Bart Simpson do write 50 times I'll not talk in class in longhand and everything. I will you do that thing.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So and but the craziest thing was I guess this was an attempt to get me to stop talking all the time. Well, what a fruitless endeavor that was.
Speaking speaking of that
Because I
part,
still yammering, huh?
yeah. Speaking of that part, I remember when we came back in class and one of the names,
Yes,
and the teacher used to put our names on the board.
yes.
That was pretty embarrassing too.
Oh, well, it got to the point where they would put my name up on the board, and if you were the only name on the board, that'd be different. But usually there was like maybe three or four names,
Yeah, yeah.
and
That's
we
what it's like.
actually, but they were all the kids I liked,
Yeah, yeah,
the kids I was talking to.
yeah. I
The kids I had that I did not want to speak
Well,
with,
at
they
least
didn't have their names up, and then yeah,
at least you weren't the only one.
we were. It was a. I always thought it was a club. It was a club of cool kids who like to talk. And let's face it, you
Yeah.
like when you're with your friends, you're not quiet. You're not sitting on your hands,
Yeah.
Not In fact, sometimes when you're with people, friends of yours, and they're not talking to you, that's when you have to worry because they're mad at you.
Yeah.
If you don't know why I'm not talking to you, then you will never know. Oh, I'm not a guessing game. But that's so still yammering. Now we're talking about family members now. Now property. You have
Yes.
friends that do any of your like family members own their own house? Wow.
Yes. It all started.
That's amazing.
It all started many years back before I was born.
Okay.
Way before I was even born.
The people were owning houses?
Yeah.
Kings owned castles in those days.
The main owners of the property
Yeah.
down at the river back
Yeah.
then were
Oh,
my,
River House.
yeah,
Oh,
my
okay.
great grandparents.
All right.
They were the first owners of that property.
Yeah.
It's called Chauncey River, which was like near Deltaville and all the places like that.
Chauncey.
Yeah. And then a lot of my other family members, had their own houses and everything else in that same property. So
Yes.
and my grandmother used to hang out there years ago.
Hmm.
And then she would take, my mom and all them when they were kids.
Hmm.
And then when me and my cousins were kids, we used to all stay together at the river for the weekend.
Okay.
So
What'd you do at the river?
we rode boats. We went crabbing.
Crabbing?
Yeah.
Did you catch any crabs?
Yeah.
Did you get crabs when you were there?
My family did mostly, but
Yeah.
I just kind of sat and watched.
Yeah.
And then we hung out at the river house.
Yeah.
Doing things.
I find crabs.
Like
I
having
find.
dinner there.
Well, I
Cutting
always
corn
found crabs very,
bugs.
very. I've been to like what do they call them? Crab
Crab.
luncheons. What do they call 'em? When you're at the beach and you're just hammering and
Oh,
just
shucking.
crab
I think
shucking or
so.
something.
Yeah.
Very hard work with the little bit of meat you get.
Right.
And it's all that Old Bay on it. So it's very spicy. It's like putting
Right.
pepper all over it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or it's a type of pepper, I'm sure.
Right.
And seasoning, and it's and I and you're having fun like the first 2 or 3 are fun, but then after that you say, oh man, I gotta eat another 10 of
That
these.
is hard. That is hard.
And you get the cut fingers.
It's even just as hard as just shucking oysters.
Yeah. Well, shucking oysters I never found fun.
Yeah.
I prefer my oysters pre-shucked. Because
Yeah.
and oysters are kind of a strange thing. Did you have oysters at the?
Oh yeah, they're
I
pretty
mean,
good.
Mhm. At your
Yeah.
river house,
Yeah.
because oysters, a lot of people eat them raw,
Mhm.
and I think when I was a teenager, drinking and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that showed out what a man you were, was how raw they could be. In fact, if they were still alive and you shuck, they were hard to open, but once you got them open, you popped them in your mouth and everything, cold, and I heard somebody was joking about eating raw oysters. Is that you first thing you do is put butter sauce and
Yeah.
hot sauce and Old Bay and whatever you can on there to make sure that it doesn't taste at all like a raw oyster.
Yeah. Exactly.
Every time, and everyone out there knows what I'm talking about. The first time you open a raw oyster, or anytime you open an oyster, you always think you're gonna find a pearl in it.
Yeah.
And have you ever found a pearl in your
Oh
oyster?
no.
No, no one ever finds a pearl.
Yeah.
I think they've all been taken.
Yeah. I think so.
And so
Yeah.
so tell me more about this river house. Now you were invited. Do you still get invited to it?
No, I haven't been in years.
Okay.
The last time that I went
Have
was
a party
back.
there and invite us all.
If I ever go again. Yeah. The last time I went was back in 2002.
Okay. Oh wow,
Yeah, that was years ago, but I
that was
haven't
at
been
least
there
5 years ago.
Yeah, I haven't been there ever since. But
Yeah.
I like to go again.
Do,
But
is anyone is it in? Is there a lot of work? Is there electricity in there?
Yes.
Flushing toilet?
Yeah, they got,
Okay.
they got like real houses, you know.
Because I remember going to visit my grandmother in Ireland,
Yeah.
and at the home where my mother is from,
Yeah.
and I was surprised there was no toilet
Oh.
in the house.
Oh wow.
You had to go. They had a toilet though,
They had like
but
a
it
doghouse.
was in the shed,
Yeah.
and you went into the shed to use it, which was nice in a way that you had privacy. You didn't have someone walking by and knocking on the door all the
Yeah,
time.
I know.
But it was weird. You had to go outside in the cold, and then the rain.
Yeah.
It's always raining in Ireland to go. But they still. But then all these houses would have
Mhm.
toilets. You watch these old movies and they didn't have indoor plumbing and they didn't have electricity.
Right.
And I'll be talking about electricity later. About
Mhm.
Benjamin Franklin. I saw that show about.
Yeah.
But anyway, and you'd be surprised how in really within the last 100 years has anything really modern in the.
Yeah.
But I think 100 years ago they thought that was modern. There's a TV show called The Nick, and about a hospital in like 1900, and you in New York, and it seems so like terrible with typhoid
Yeah.
and diseases and corruption
Yeah.
and all these and uh, the pores being exploited, like in the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, where all those girls jumped out of a burning building because it
Oh
was it
yeah.
was terrible. But I mean, all this gone, and yet they thought that was the modern times. You know,
Yeah.
you know, they didn't have tele. I was thinking when you watch a cowboy movie, how backward. There's no radio, there's no phonograph records,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
no television. There's not even photography, really. And yet, and all they have is horses and guns, horses and guns,
Yeah.
and they drink a lot of whiskey.
Yeah.
And life is cheap because they're always shooting each other in the cowboy movies.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a cowboy movie where nobody gets killed.
Right. Right.
It's all shootouts and
Yeah.
and outlaws and everything.
Yeah. My dad
Yeah,
loves the cowboy TV shows like
yeah,
the Rifleman. What else?
yeah.
Some other one.
Gunsmoke, Bonanza.
Gunsmoke,
There's a whole bunch of them.
Bonanza. Yeah.
I
I used to watch Wagon Train with my grandma all the
Wagon
time.
Train.
Yeah.
Oh, the joke about Wagon Train is that they never stop the wagon train. Every week they're still on the wagon train. Do they ever have a destination?
I know.
Ward Bond.
It's kind of like
I
a merry-go-round.
know they're just going around in a circle. Oh, there's Indians up ahead.
I
Yeah.
know. I know.
You ever see I saw a movie about the West. A friend of mine showed it to me. Westward the Women,
Oh, I
about
never
all
heard
these
about that.
women who were like unwed mothers
Yeah.
and prostitutes on the East Coast, and they all went out west to kind of find men
Yeah.
and kind of reinvent themselves. The
Yeah.
piano is sort of like that with Holly Hunter, and
Oh.
where women who
Yeah.
and women really had it rough. At least a man could do something. A woman either got a job in
Right.
a printing press or in a factory or
Right.
something. A
Right.
single woman.
Yeah.
But if she wasn't married and having a family, and then that was rough because then they had to raise kids and then be
Yeah. Yeah.
and worry
My
about.
grandfather went to see the piano in the theater years ago.
Yeah, I saw it.
I think it was like early '90s.
Yeah,
And I think I remember him telling us that he didn't like it or something.
a lot of people didn't like it because the Sam Neill was in it. I
Yeah.
remember, and he was seen like a nice guy at the beginning,
Yeah.
but then when his wife was cheating on him, then he wasn't such a nice guy.
Yeah.
What what could make a guy go crazy?
Yeah. And also,
Yeah.
my grandfather went to see another movie years ago.
No, what was it?
Uh,
I've seen every
he
movie.
used to love he used to love to go to the movies. My grandfather did.
Ah, yeah.
And every
I
time,
love to kiss girls and go to the movies. That's my favorite thing in the world.
yeah, my
What was the
grandfather.
movie?
I forgot what it was, but this is
He's
funny.
only seen two movies, the
Well,
piano
he's
and he
seen
didn't
a
like
lot
either
of
one of
movies.
them.
He's seen a lot of movies
Yeah,
he loved, and sometimes he didn't. So,
yeah.
what was another movie that I forgot what the actual movie was, but he was telling us that there was a woman in front of him.
Yeah.
Then she, after the movie's over, she stood up and she turned around at him. She was like, "And this got 4 stars."
Oh, You know, my dad has a joke about going to the movies. He said the movie was so lousy he saw that he told the woman in front of him to put her big hat back on.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Jesus, help us.
Sometimes I go to a Broadway show and I'm like this. Can you put your hat back down? I remember going to I think a hockey game and a guy was wearing like that cat in a hat hat. He has part of
Oh,
his like with all the
yeah.
teams.
Yeah.
I said, can you put that down while I'm trying to watch the game? I mean,
Yeah.
you can wear it up when you go up and down the aisles, but not, not when you're sitting in front of me.
Yeah.
Because I can't. I'm not. Always a giraffe in front
But
of me.
my grandfather loved to go to the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, he used to love to like go out and go to a movie by himself.
Yeah.
And sometimes with, his friend or whatever,
Yeah.
And even he loved to do it since he was younger.
I've seen. I like I said, I've seen every movie, and now it's getting harder to see
Yeah, I
movies
know.
because it used to be like the theater downtown had this movie, and then the one in your area
Yeah.
has a different movie, and then
He used
now
to,
every movie theater has the same movie. So if you can't make it there, you can make it there.
he used to
The
love
same superhero
he
movies and
used to
things.
love to go to the West Hampton.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame they tore it down though, because it was a great movie theater.
Well, let me tell you about movie theaters.
Yeah.
They're not if they only show one movie.
Yeah.
Now a theater will show like 20 movies or
Yeah.
20 auditoriums, and yeah, it was nice to see it on a big screen in one place,
Yeah.
but that's not feasible anymore. You have to make your money selling lots of tickets in different
Yeah.
areas. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you could actually tear down the walls of
Yeah.
all of the Cineplex that has 10 theaters and make one big screen and everyone's sitting,
Exactly.
but that's not going to work anymore. And also movies. I think I was talking with either on a show or with a bunch of people that movies aren't because of the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
Everything has changed. Everyone watches their movies on television now.
Oh, wow.
Netflix and Apple
Yeah.
TV and Hulu and probably
Yeah,
others.
exactly.
And the movie that won Best Picture this year, which I saw just last week, Coda, about deaf people.
Mhm.
My friend Marley Matlin is in it. That was that no one can see this movie unless you have Apple TV. Now, because it won Best Picture Oscar, they're showing it in a few theaters, but the theaters don't want to show this movie
Yeah.
because it's the competition.
Yeah.
Apple TV and Netflix and all those other streaming services are putting the theaters that are selling popcorn and everything
Right.
out of business.
Yeah. Sometimes, like, former movie theaters that used to be movie theaters,
Yeah.
they make them into churches.
They make them in the churches like on Sunday morning. Usually they
Yeah.
don't show movies on Sunday morning, so
Yeah.
they rent them out. You could have birthday parties there. You could do a lot of things
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
movie
Yeah.
theaters. Well, you could actually some auditoriums. You could like if it's in like an old theater
Yeah.
that was made back in the 20s or 30s, like a few of them in Richmond are. You could actually have
Yeah.
stage shows there. Actually, showing movies in a movie theater is
Yeah.
actually kind of
Right.
like best example of that is Radio City Music Hall showed movies and had a stage show with the
Yeah.
Rockettes
Yeah.
in between shows,
Yeah.
but now they just have stage shows
Yeah.
because they're not really going to sell tickets to see the
Right.
like the latest Disney movie or something.
Remember that movie theater that used to be on Midlothian behind the Putt Putt Golf?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, my
it was the Midlothian Theater.
yes. Oh, my friend used to go to church there years ago before they changed the name of the.
And now I've been to that place. It's a nice place,
Yeah,
and they now have it as a movie theater and a
yeah,
church,
yeah.
meaning that they don't show like
I've been
they
to
don't
a
show
couple.
adult movies. They show
Yeah,
mainly movies for that families could see.
yeah,
But you can see good. I saw Green Book there,
yeah,
but since the pandemic, I haven't seen any movie. I don't. I haven't seen movies there
yeah.
because they haven't had any
Because
movies there.
when my friend used to go to church there, I used to go to New Year's Eve services a
Yeah.
lot with my other friend,
Mhm.
and
Happy New Year.
yeah, and they let me participate on the with the singers and everything.
All right.
So I got to like wave one of those like flags, like a color guard type of thing.
Oh yeah.
It was pretty fun. And I didn't like about even though I didn't belong to that church, but I just visited.
Yeah.
Yeah, they let me like use those with those flags, like the color guards do.
All right.
I just kind of like waved it. It was pretty fun.
What color was the flag?
I think it was like purple,
Oh, purple. You
like
can't
either
get a better
purple or
color.
gold or some other
Like the
color,
Brazilian flag.
or the white. I'm not really sure exactly the color, but it was pretty fun because I got to participate on the stage, for a little while.
Do you know there's a flag?
It was fun.
The flag of Jamaica, I found out, I heard this on Jeopardy, is the only flag in the world, I mean, of a
Yeah,
country
right.
that doesn't have red, white, or blue in it.
Yeah.
That thing is green and yellow.
Mhm.
Isn't that cool? Every flag, see, I guess those are the three colors. Red, white, and blue is
Right.
egalite,
Yeah.
fraternity,
Right.
equality.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so and then so tell me more about I there are members of my family that have beach houses and
Oh
houses
wow.
by the river. I've never been invited to them.
What?
They have also I have friends that have them,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
it's in their
Oh yeah, I
family,
do
and they've
too.
invited me.
Yeah.
But my friends think of me as a better
Right.
weekend guest than my
I had
family
a.
does.
I
My
had a.
family's always
Yeah.
sees me, so I guess they take me for granted.
Years ago, I had an old lady friend of mine that invited us down there for my birthday. And it
Mhm.
was pretty fun, pretty nice place.
Yeah,
It was in, I think, in North Carolina or something.
yeah.
I forgot what the actual
Oh,
name
at
was
the
called.
what's it called? The Outer Banks.
No, it was a different place.
Yeah.
It was like a lake.
Okay.
You know, she had like lake
Yeah.
property. It was huge.
But let me tell you something. I got to be honest with you. Even though it sounds like I'm complaining, I'm not really complaining. But let
Yeah.
me tell you something.
Right.
It's nice. It's nice when people invite you to their
Yeah.
beach houses. But the last thing I ever want is a house by the river or a house
Yeah.
by the beach or something. And I'll tell you why. Because
Why?
I know people. I used to work with a lot of rich people, people that did very
Yeah.
well with their jobs,
Yeah.
salesmen,
Yeah.
and they all had beach houses, houses by the river.
Uh,
They had houses by, and they had boats, and
mm,
they had not stay with me because I'm going to get to the bad part soon.
yeah.
They're they spent all their time, vacation time there,
Yeah.
and it was hardly a vacation time. For one thing, they didn't. They a lot of them were doing work on. They would paint the deck, or they'd stain the deck,
Right.
or they'd paint the rooms in the house, or
Right.
have to do laundry and get the get make open the windows and
Right.
then or fix their kill the cobwebs or something.
Right.
They and I thought that was a terrible way to spend a spend spend a vacation in a house you don't really use that much. I mean, if you live there, that's different.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
maybe they were planning to sell their big house and just move by the river when they retired. But I'd hate to put in that much of an investment for my whole life for when I retire. Because when I
Mm,
retire, I expect to have a lot of fun and
right.
not just sit by the river and look
Yeah.
outside and get drunk and
Yeah.
smoke
Exactly.
cigarettes and stuff,
Yeah.
which is what they were doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, I've had friends that have invited me on trips, and I would say, well, let's go to Paris, or let's go to Los Angeles or somewhere. Let's go to New York or something. And they say, no, let's get a timeshare near the river so we could spend the whole week there
And sit on your butt.
and sit on your butt. What am I gonna? There's only been so many magazines I can read. There's only been so
Yeah.
there's only been so much food I could eat
Yeah.
and alcohol I could
Yeah.
drink.
I mean,
Maybe at one time now. In fact, the alcohol was probably the problem because I don't drink any.
yeah, even though I do love to sit and look at a pretty property,
Yeah.
I want to do other stuff. It's just sitting there.
Well, the people who watch this show
Yeah.
and you and me and
Uh-huh.
people like that, we don't sit by the river and watch the world go by.
Yeah.
We see the world and we travel
Yes.
and we experience life.
I love to travel,
Uh,
and I want to
we,
travel more.
and we yeah. So that's what
Yes.
so I mean, if I'm invited for a week, a
Yes.
weekend, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm not going to give up my whole vacation for that.
Right.
A
Exactly.
weekend I could do almost anything.
Yeah.
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 And let's face it, there's plenty of country in America.
Yeah.
There's plenty of ruralness. There's
Yeah.
plenty of houses in the
Yeah.
country.
Exactly.
There's plenty of lakes.
Right.
Unless you like I remember, well, I don't remember this actually because when I went to college, no, when, when I graduated from high school, a bunch of my male friends got together and got a cabin and and you're gonna
Yeah.
hate this story. They
Yeah.
got a cabin, and I couldn't make it because I family over, and we had a lot of fun with my family from New York. So what happened was for my graduation, I was the first one in my family to graduate
Right.
from high school. So of the siblings, and so what happened? I was the oldest. So what happened was, so when the week went by and then the summer started, I asked my friends, well, what was that week like in the country after graduation? They said it started off all right, but then it got very boring, and then we just got into these almost fight club drinking fights.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I said, well, you're out in the country. Did you do any hunting or fishing? Oh, no, but one guy brought a whole stack of Playboy and Penthouse magazines, and we read those. I said, that's all you did was read Playboy and Penthouse magazines the whole
Plenty.
week. Did you have a television? In those days, people didn't. Television
Yeah.
wasn't readily available.
Yeah.
You had an antenna.
Right.
So I said, "Oh man, that's the last thing I want to do."
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks for going down memory lane. I
Absolutely.
need a psychiatrist now to
Yes.
rid these terrible thoughts out of my head now.
Yeah. Well.
We have a second part of this show coming up.
Yes. And thank you all for tuning in. And we will take a little break. We will be back as soon as possible. God bless you.